Let's play ball. Stedman and Ohams go up for it. Ohams wins the tip, and we're underway. Josh Colon-Navarro, key in the starting five since the injury to Quisenberry. Rose left that short. Whipped around Charlton. Can't get that to go. Another offensive board. It's Ohams backing in on Buttrick. Charlton on the drive. To the restricted area, floats, and doesn't get that to fall. Rebound Stedman.
Well, for a team that made just 12 shots a couple of days ago, 0 for 3 on 3 good looks, not necessarily the way you wanted to begin this evening.
Here's Fernandez. Got his hand extended into Rose's face. Basket doesn't count, an offensive foul.
And his head coach, Matt McCall, a little shrug, wondering about the quick whistle, but once that arm gets extended, that whistle's going to come.
These two teams play at an almost identical pace over the course of this year. For Fordham, that means they've slowed considerably from non-conference play. The loss of Antonio Day, transferring out. Colon-Navarro tries a three. Tipped around again, and now Oham slashes inside. Puts it up, Simbila. Finally, Fordham got one to go. The Rams get the opening basket of the contest on their 5th try.
On one hand, not very efficient, a 1 for 6 start shooting, but they're aggressive, getting some open looks on these opening 2 possessions.
Rich Kelly, Stedman floats over Simbila and able to tip it back up and in.
And that might have actually been Simbila who tipped that one back through, trying to get that away from the scrum, and then Simbila went crashing into Josh Colon-Navarro underneath the rim. Josh gingerly back here on the offensive end.
Stedman took credit for it, though. Simbila lining him up. Simbila spinning away. And foul on the floor will go against Stedman. His first second team foul already. For UMass, they're actually going to play a back-to-back here against Fordham. They'll welcome the Rams up to the Mullen Center on Wednesday. It's going to be the second time this year they've gone back-to-back. Charlton floats that up. Ohams backing in Buttrick. Uses the window. Tips around and Stedman pulls it in. They had to play St. Louis home and then away. They won the home game, lost the road game. Cal Neptune, Fordham's head coach, saying, can't remember ever playing a back-to-back at the college level. As Stedman drains that, UMass has the lead, 5-2.
And today is the makeup game. These two were supposed to play very early in this building in conference play. That game could not have happened because of COVID, so this is the reschedule, creating a Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday sprint to the finish line for both of these teams.
Slicing through the lane, finding Simbila up and under from Charlton. And Andrew, let's be honest, 9 days from now, the A10 tournament starts in DC. So Stedman trying a three, that's in and out. You got to get through this grind for the next week and then realize your season's going to come down to the 7 days that follow.
Yeah, and surprisingly, Fordham battled for the first 17 or 18 minutes Saturday against Davidson, and that game got away from them pretty quickly after halftime. This is 2 fouls on UMass and Fernandez, who's got to leave the floor here as we see Simbila. Nice finish along the baseline. So Fernandez gets that cheapie on the offensive end with a little push-off on to Kyle Rose, and now gets his second playing defense just 3+ minutes in. And for a guy who you're trying to get back into full endurance and full performance after that January concussion, early foul trouble is not really helpful.
Offensive 3 seconds sends this the other way. Simbila in the lane, so a bit of a herky-jerky start.
I think this is actually a moving screen. Simbila gave it to Charlton and then walked the defender down the lane with him. Either way, it's an empty trip for Fordham. And here comes Darius Quisenberry. Hasn't played in a couple of weeks, 5 total games missed after hurting his knee, landing from a jumper at St. Bonaventure.
And Rostik Novitsky checks in. There's a moment of silence to stand with Ukraine before this game began. A native of Kyiv, his family now is in the Czech Republic, but And speaking with Kyle Neptune, I said, how's Rostick doing? And he goes, what can you honestly expect? Of course he's not okay. The images that he's seen and the friends he still has in the Ukrainian capital city, he calls his hometown.
It is a remarkable example of strength and concentration that I don't have, that he is here playing in this game. I mean, the things that are going on back at home, yes, his family is safe, but friends, former teammates, former coaches aren't safe, are fighting for their country. And I wouldn't even be able to be in the gym today, let alone focus on playing a high-level Division I college basketball game. But his teammates and the program showing support with the jersey patch. The Ukrainian flag is flying behind the Fordham bench. And Nowitzki hopefully finding a little bit maybe of a distraction here on the floor tonight.
Well, he's got his first block of the game into the hands of Rose. And here's Ohams, tough to the basket, ripped down by Buttrick. Low-scoring start in this first half. Rose went for the steal. Weeks was able to keep it. Garcia kicks around. Rich Kelly swings around Garcia. Now Weeks Jr. hotly contested, pulled in by Ohams, his fourth rebound in less than 5 minutes. Ohams using as many steps as allocated, fell off the rim. And all the way to the cup.
Really close to tapping that one in. He tried to. If he missed it by the tiniest of margins.
Well, Weeks, a 9-point-a-game scorer coming off a 3-spot against VCU in which he didn't have a field goal, converts the 3-point play the traditional way. UMass averages 10 threes a game. Quisenberry slapped away by Weeks. Running the other way, Dominguez. Dominguez scoops, put back up off the bottom of the rim by Garcia. And Nowitzki starts it the other way. Cologne Navarro through traffic. Quisenberry for three. That's long, coming off that knee injury. Cologne Navarro nails the triple.
There's a lot of good looks here, Mike, for Fordham. Shots just not dropping yet. Now 3 of 13, 1 of 5. This is last touch by Cologne Navarro. And this was the frustration at times this year for a team that is still offensively challenged. They're getting looks, good looks, from deep, from the paint, that just don't go in and should go in. But at least at the end of the sequence there, Cologne Navarro knocks down the triple.
Buttrick finds Kelly from the logo. Offside iron, Kelly trying to keep that in, out of bounds. That's what you get from Rich Kelly. When's the last time you saw an opponent come in and try one from the logo?
Also, almost catching and leaning backwards as well, adding a degree of difficulty to that shot. He's going to shoot it, and deservedly so, because it goes in almost more than it doesn't.
Turned over on the lob to Buttrick. Charlton Euros. Kelly puts it back up. No. Cologne Navarro. And this is going to bounce over to the Minutemen radio team. If you're Kyle Neptune, there's got to be some measure of frustration, you'd think. It's an offense that early in the season could play in transition with the best in the league. Right now they're shooting under 40% from the field and just over 30% from three. You're talking bottom 2 in the conference in both.
This is a not good offense from Fordham against a not good defense from UMass. And on the flip side, you've got a good three-point shooting UMass offense against a good three-point defense from Fordham. So something's got to give on both ends. If Fordham is going to have a good offensive night, it should come against a team like UMass that struggles at times mightily on that side of the floor.
Dominguez kicks. Weeks. Dominguez. Garcia, no. Weeks, the putback rolls in. Hey, for those fans that desperately love UMass, they've tuned into the game today. They're wondering why C.J. Kelly is wearing number 41. His number 12 jersey didn't make the trip. So, long story short, that's the spare. he'll play in that for a day.
And then who gets in trouble for that number 12 jersey being back at school?
That's a great question, isn't it? Cologne Navarro shiftily through. Ohams surrounded by 4, offensive foul.
Fordham might have preferred a 3-second call. Instead of that, both were applicable in the situation, but the whistle goes for the foul on Ohams. Fordham showing a little bit of pressure, but not the VCU pressure that destroyed UMass over the weekend.
Kyle Neptune, Fordham's head coach, alluded to the fact we can't press like VCU does. We don't have their length, their depth, their athleticism top to bottom on the roster. But we do press, and when we do, typically pretty efficiently.
And press or not, this is still a good defensive team. Strong move by Ohams to finally get 2 on the board for him. So this is a chance for them here to flex their muscle in a different way against this UMass team, especially as you've been pointing out, strength versus strength. They defend the 3 well, and that's what UMass wants to shoot predominantly.
It's Garcia to the hole. Slithering all over the place. Kelly. Dominguez puts it in. 13-9, UMass over Fordham. Over 8 minutes into the first half.
That's a young man that has been in and out of Matt McCall's rotation, but needing some kind of change of pace over the weekend. They gave him some extra minutes, responded well, so an early call here today.
Ohams, nice finish, goes through the contact. Greg Jones. Ohams has 4 and 4, the double-double king of the Atlantic 10. 7th most in the country, double-doubles. Weeks lost the handle. Quisenberry couldn't run away with it. Fordham's unsettled. Garcia short-armed it. A rebound, Cologne Navarro. And he's speeding away from traffic, and that got swatted away by Garcia. Weeks kicked in that game in some capacity, have gone on to some legendary and some still blossoming careers as coaches.
Some good players on that UMass team as well. That was an interesting time in Amherst. Lou Rowe, eventually Camby. Matt McCall trying to refine part of that magic. And boy, do they have a good player in Trey Mitchell, but many a program has had individual talent like that leave before their eligibility is done. Trey at Texas. But Fordham certainly saw enough of him in this building over the last couple of years.
Riley nearly and away from Ohams.
Confidence is growing for Zach Riley. Kind of pressed into duty for Fordham because they were so shorthanded when he got here during the semester break from down under, unsure if he even would play this year. Maybe protect him, save him for 4 full seasons, not a half of this one, but he kind of had to play.
Santos hit the heel, Jones the rebound. It's Kelly who got the previous basket. Santos inside, offensive foul.
And kind of like Zach Riley, Preston Santos, a guy who has also not gotten regular minutes from Matt McCall, was not with the team a year ago, but shorthanded, coming off 2 bad losses, trying to get a couple of wins here before the season's done and improve their seeding for the tournament next week. Santos, like Dominguez, getting an early call here tonight from UMass.
Matt McCall, the 5th-year head coach for the Minutemen, saying if it's an 8-man, 9-man rotation, whatever it is, trying to get the right amount of energy. Quisenberry still struggling here at the outset in his first game back after missing 5. Pulling up Garcia from the free throw line. Dominguez got a piece. Garcia followed. Jones kicks. Santos. Tipped out by Rose. Defensive rebounding not really in vogue tonight for either team, is it?
Also a lot of missed shots, creating a lot of chances for offensive and defensive rebounds.
Charlton finishes, lowered his shoulder No whistle. Back to a 2-point game. What if I told you there were 15 defensive rebounds at this point and 13 on the offensive glass? Santos. Ohams makes sure there's no repeat. Tips that away. Quisenberry goes baseline. Skips to Charlton. Finds Cologne Navarro. Stops in the paint, seeking Quisenberry. Comes open, spots for 3. Off the mark.
And that looks like a young man who's not all the way back health-wise and just missed the last 5 games. But the only way he's going to get out of that is to keep shooting.
He's listed day-to-day with a knee injury, and they're hoping to get him back at some point this week. It was unclear when or just how much he'll be ready to go. That's either the best pass I've seen in a long time or a lot of luck. The offensive rebound again, Jones. They'll make you pay from downtown. UMass up by 5.
And a little kiss at the end from Jones as well, although I feel like you might want to read the room when everyone's missing and you finally hit one as a rarity. I might just quietly go back and play defense.
Teams combined 3 of 19 from beyond the arc. Ohams against Dominguez, being played in Division I. It's the first one of the night, so all eyes in New York, in Massachusetts, and beyond are surely watching this game. 4 in the MEAC, 4 in the SWAC. Shot clock was at 1, and Cologne Navarro just got bailed out. Garcia picks up the foul.
Matt McCall is stunned on the UMass sideline. We're going to look at it here. It did not look like a foul, especially with 1 second on the shot clock live, and it still doesn't look like a foul on second look. And Coach McCall, who looks more like a grad assistant than a head coach, I think fairly perturbed on that UMass sideline.
Try and keep your youth if you can. Cologne Navarro knocks down the first pair. 5 points, couple rebounds at this stage. I asked Kyle Neptune if maybe too much conversation is about Chuba Ohams. It feels like it's every press conference, every pregame interview we do with him. Who should we be talking about? He said Kyle Rose, Josh Cologne Navarro, Antrell Charlton, name your pick. It could be any number of guys who've played well. Kelly kicks, ripped down by another Kelly. There's a lot of Kellys in this game. There are 4 between the 2 rosters.
4 Kellys, 3 families.
Whoa, Cologne Navarro streaking over. It's going the other way. Cologne Navarro laying out for it. And apparently he was on the sideline.
He also slid about 12 feet with the basketball and took a Greg Jones knee on the way down there as well.
If your feet don't touch the ground, is it still a travel? It technically is not pivoting. It's a genuine question. Dominguez for 3. Simbila snatches that down with authority. 2-point game here, believe it or not. Kelly for 3. That's good. Fordham's got the lead, 19-18.
That is a shot that Pat Kelly individually and Fordham as a team desperately need to go down consistently. He was a dead-eye shooter in high school. Originally committed to Penn State, followed assistant Keith Ergo from the Nittany Lions to this Fordham program, and you see what he can be. He is that stretch 4 that is so in vogue in this game, but the shot has not been there for him yet, but it looks good when it goes in. It just needs to go in more than it has so far this season.
This is C.J. Kelly at the line, 12, wearing number 41 today.
And he is the outlier Kelly for UMass. Rich, who is in the game, and John, who plays very sparingly, they're brothers. And then Pat Kelly, standalone Kelly on the Fordham side.
CJ, junior guard from, it's just listed Long Island, New York, which is a fascinating amalgamation of potential landing spots. He did, however, go to high school, 3-year captain at Queens High School of Teaching.
So here's 2 question marks. I currently live in Long Island, so I am, I guess, insulted by the generic Long Island declaration because you've got to tell me what neighborhood you're from. I grew up in Queens. I don't know what or where the Queens High School of Teaching is, but I'm impressed that it has a basketball team that created a Division I basketball player.
Rich Kelly's got his first 2 points of the game, and it's UMass up by a point again. You think the person who wrote that on the website in the game notes, Nowitzki knocks down a 3. All that's swirling around in the mind of Nowitzki, the native of Ukraine. Only played 4 minutes last time out at Davidson. Kelly fades away, knocks that down.
That's a tricky little shot, little jab step and a fall away, just getting over Nowitzki's longer outstretched arm. But back on this end on offense for Nowitzki, I mean, those shots few and far between.
Kelly, Nowitzki, the offensive rebound.
So when they go in for him on any occasion, he's got to feel good, but tonight in particular has to feel even better.
Ohams. Pat Kelly from the corner. Couple of triples midway through this first half. Fordham's got a 3-point lead, their biggest advantage of the game. And Rich Kelly is fouled. Kyle Rose will pick up the personal. It's Fordham's 5th, his first. But Kelly, he's comfortable in that spot.
He loves those corner jumpers. He is one of the first Rams out in the gym before the game working on that shot, trying to find the rhythm, trying to find the stroke that made him a fairly high-end D1 recruit. And Fordham already with 4 threes in this first half after just 4 on 30 attempts on Saturday at Davidson, and that was certainly a walk by Stedman.
You can ask the Fordham faithful sitting in front of our broadcast booth here how they feel about it. May have gotten a piece of Nowitzki as well. Rostic Nowitzki fumbles there. It's a 1-point game as we approach the 4-minute mark. Rose double teamed. Shot clock down to 7. Let's see what Nowitzki can do.
Cuba and 11 or 12 question marks. And then along the way, Antonio Day left the program, and then Darius Quisenberry got hurt, and Fordham still is flirting with 500 and has 6 conference wins.
Nowitzki, excellent finish, backing Dominguez all the way down. And let's not forget, Shuba Ohams played 1 game last year, coming off a patellar tendon tear the year prior. Dominguez straight away. Rattles around, Nowitzki going over the top. Ball gets out off the knee of a Fordham player, belongs to UMass. But you remember the old movie Major League?
Yeah.
Who are these people?
Yeah.
Who are these guys? I think a lot of people in the A-10 thought that way.
Good job by you also cleaning up that exchange from the movie, too. I feel there's a couple of words in there that I'm not supposed to say out loud. But, I mean, that's what makes this 5-spot turnaround, so to speak, that impressive, is that this team was a complete unknown, and except for Saturday against Davidson and their game at St. Bonaventure, every other game has basically been a fist fight. Now, at times they have fallen into big holes and gotten back in it. Some games have gotten away from them in the last, 5 or 6 minutes, but they were outclassed more than you would like in previous seasons, and this year that has really not been the case.
That's an offensive foul from Charlton. It's Fordham's 6th. So both teams will be in the single bonus the remainder of the first half.
And the little gamble here from Matt McCall, Noah Fernandez back on the floor with 2 fouls, and immediately has Antrell Charlton put his hip into him and goes down, creating the need to blow the whistle. And luckily for UMass, it wasn't foul number 3 on their point guard. He's
the only player on either team with 2 first-half fouls. Rose going after Fernandez. Fernandez, well, that's a clear double dribble, no, unless the ball got poked away. That's what the fans are asking.
I mean, there was certainly contact with Rose, but I didn't think the contact is what dislodged the basketball.
Quisenberry still trying to find a shooting stroke. Dominguez pulls in the short hop rebound. Here's Kelly, as good a marksman as the A-10, nay, as the country has. Getting inside, Quisenberry the steal. Spinning around. Ohams with a trio around him, trying to finish at the 10. Charlton tried to rip it away from Weeks. Closing in on the final 2 minutes. 6 points for Ohams, 5 rebounds, on pace for another double-double. 5 and 4 for Weeks. Dominguez drains the 3 to tie the game at 29.
Fordham is content to let Dominguez take those shots, and if he hits them, they're going to tip their cap to him.
Nowitzki continues to have a dominant first half in the post.
Well, this has been the best we have seen him this season on offense, with 7 points in a hurry here. And there's obviously no disguising an emotional night has to be a factor in the way he's playing in his first 20 minutes.
Native of Kyiv, Ukraine. Nowitzki was defending on Kelly there. Deposits the deuce, levels it at 31. Nowitzki leads all scorers with 7. Quisenberry scoreless in his return. Not for lack of trying, 0 for 5. 0 for 6. Ohams offensive board. Goes back up, uses the glass. Fernandez. Dominguez, why not? Not that time. And a foul from Nowitzki, his second. Trying to rip that ball away. Dominguez, by the way, 25% three-point shooter. He takes a decent number of threes. This isn't totally unheard of.
No, but the hilarious part of this is you and I are on the second level of the gym, and I think we're closer to him than any Fordham defender as he's catching on the arc. They just don't care if he shoots it all day long. The problem is when he misses it, you've got to get the rebound, and they did in this situation, and here's Weeks in the line.
He'll shoot 1 and 1. He went 3 for 6 at the line against VCU. He's now 2 for 2 tonight. TJ Weeks Jr. had an incredible freshman year before injury. He was shooting that 49% clip that we've bestowed so much praise on Rich Kelly for as a freshman. But just 31% since. He's up to 40% in A-10 play now. Quisenberry finally got one to drop. Gives Fordham the lead and allows the Rams to go 2 for 1. Turned over. Charlton. Quisenberry. Well, the graphic said first points in near now. Fordham leads by 4. This game is being played at a UMass pace. They give up and score a little over 75 points a game. Fordham's in the upper to mid-60s in both categories. High flying back half of the first half. Fernandez, he got the switch. Kelly, the up fake. Fernandez puts it in from way downtown. And with 3 from half court, it is gone! It's a group that averages 10 made threes a game, and Kyle Neptune, the Fordham head coach, said a lot of the focus in this game was going to be limiting the number of shots they get up. If you look at wins and losses for this 12 and 15 UMass team, as Rose tips it away and the defense for Fordham starts the second half on the right note, there isn't a substantial difference in field goal percentage from beyond the arc and the number of attempts. They put them up under any circumstances. And so far tonight, they haven't fallen as effectively as they typically do. This off the foot of Charlton back to UMass.
You're right. They're going to shoot him, and they're going to hit him. Their recent problem was losing possessions before they could take a shot. I mean, they just had too many possessions that ended in the backcourt in trouble against VCU. They had 22 turnovers that equaled 27 Ram points.
Simbila the block. Charlton runs. Colon Navarro fakes, drives, scoops, Simbila offensive board, tries to go back up. Buttrick knocks it away. And they were out on points off turnover against VCU. It doesn't make up the whole difference, but a lot of it. Good fall-away jumper from Fernandez, who's got some words as he backs into his own half. 2-point game.
So that's a little interesting sequence there that should have been relatively easy. 2 points on this end for Fordham off the block shot. They had numbers in transition. They did not get right to the rim. Then Cologne off the pump fake got to the rim, missed a bunny. Offensive rebound, Simbila commits one of the big man Cardinal sins, brought the ball down low to be stripped, and then they give up a hoop, a turnover, and now free throws for Rich Kelly.
Kelly halfway down with a head of lettuce that any person with a midlife crisis emulates. Spins all the way around the hoop and out. Played 3 years at Quinnipiac, including some time under their associate head coach, Tom Pecora, the former Fordham head coach. Played a year at Boston College and averaged 11 points a game as a senior, then transfers in, and he's looking for his 22nd double-digit scoring effort. He's got 7 and a couple assists as well, and he's drawn UMass level 80 seconds into the second half.
And I'm not going to miss your midlife crisis comment because I feel like that might have been at least partially directed at me, and I want to point out that, yes, Kelly's hair is something to be envious of, and from someone who has tried many different things to make my hair go the way I want it and then stay there, I'm impressed.
What a find. Olham's skip pass along the baseline finds Cologne Navarro for the 3.
I need to know what Rich is using that allows Rich to sweat his way through a college basketball game and to not lose any control of that hair.
It's youth. It's a fountain of youth.
Is that all it is? He has young hair, Mike?
Fernandez, nice finish in the lane. Skipping through Simbila and Olham's. It's an own self-conscious personal recognition of follicular problem.
My hair is too old to be styled, is what you're telling me.
Not like that. Olham's good for about a 3 attempt a game. It won't come now. Stedman and Buttrick had him pinned in. Now Simbila from the edge of the restricted area. And Fernandez carries the other way in a 1-point game. Goes for 3, rebounds Simbila. And you can see why Fernandez is such an exciting player to watch. And look, causation may not be the case, but the 7 games since he returned from his concussion, his numbers have plummeted to 8 points a game, 26% from the field, 22% from 3. Charlton knocks down another one. Back to a 4-point Fordham lead.
And whatever the reason for it, for UMass to be as good as UMass can be, is he's got to be their best player. And you know, they're going now on a month where he hasn't been their best player, and it's why they've had such a hard time stringing together wins.
Stedman with a really nice attempt at the cup, but it didn't fall. To your point, explains what's been a difficult past month, win-loss-wise as well. Olham's to the basket. Fordham's lead is a game-high 6. And Olham's into double figures. He's the first player tonight to do so.
There's a lot of reasons for it, Mike. Their defense is one. Fernandez's health is more of the more recent reason, but this UMass team hasn't won back-to-back games since they reeled off 3 in a row across November and December. Now, their problem has been they have put together too many losses in a row and not sprinkled enough wins. But this consistency has just not been there for them between injuries and their defensive issues. They just can't string together enough full efforts to get those W's.
Really awkward. Somehow Nowitzki able to push it away. Quisenberry finds Rose inside over Kelly. It is a block.
Across the board, averaging the double-double, shooting 50% from the floor. He's top 6 in the conference in blocks per game. He's a good passer as well. It's been a phenomenal season.
Well, Kyle Rose makes both at the free throw line. And the lead for Fordham up to 8. Can UMass catch fire the way they've been prone to all season long? Stedman spins, gets inside, Nowitzki got a piece. Rostic Nowitzki playing at another level the last couple weeks. Quisenberry drains a jumper along 2. 4 points in a 10-second span in the last minute of the first half, coming off the bench, both in the first half and the second, to play significant minutes in his first game in 3 weeks. Stedman into Nowitzki.
Well, Nowitzki did a nice job of taking that contact. It didn't help that Stedman is a big dude with a lot of force, but Nowitzki might have been in the restricted area. Noah Fernandez walked in, pointing to the semicircle, but to no avail as Quisenberry takes the long 2 and drills it. But let me go back to your point about UMass shooting themselves back into games. They kind of have Fordham where they want them right now. They have 5 double-digit come-from-behind wins this year, partly because they can get hot from 3 and you can't stop them, but now the work becomes even bigger, down 12.
Fernandez inside, doesn't get it to drop, did get Nowitzki to commit his 3rd personal foul. And Chuba continuing to find his way to the rim.
And then on this end, Fernandez, just a crafty scorer, maneuvers in the lane, changing pace, knew the contact was going to come, took it, got the shot up, and got himself free throws.
Ohams takes a seat. Rose will also. Cologne, Navarro, and Kelly come in. You know, Fernandez, when he originally arrived at Wichita State, weighed a whopping 152 pounds, and I assume that was with rocks in his pockets. And what he's arrived
he was
and
wearing
done,
everyone's uniform
true enough,
to get to 152.
And since he's come to UMass, you can't question his heart. One thing that I thought was well said by Matt McCall is it's moxie. And fans of Fordham football will remember the former defensive coordinator here talking about moxie. Nowitzki hits another one. Rostic Nowitzki, his best game in a Fordham uniform. He's got 10, couple of rebounds, some blocks. And after a game in which he only played 4 minutes and a weekend of sheer heartbreak that's almost impossible to put to words, another turnover forced by Fordham. Nowitzki leading the way. A couple years in JUCO, and at the beginning, maybe he looked a little bit lost on the D1 floor, but we've seen in A-10 play especially, he's hit another gear. Quisenberry fading away, and the rebound yanked down by Buttrick.
I mean, Mike, it's almost goosebumps time. This is a young man who, you mentioned the ups and downs of his season, had a broken foot in there that messed up things as well, and now he's got 10 points. He had 25 in 21 games coming into this one. Now he's got 10 in the first game after his country is under attack. He's wearing his flag on his jersey. The flag is flying behind the Ram bench. A moment of silence before the game, and he is somehow not just playing, but playing his best game for Fordham. Charlton was out of bounds trying to save that, which got us a whistle and a couple of changes for either side. Quisenberry, who has found his range, obviously and understandably rusty after missing 5 with that knee injury. A couple of hoops late in the first half, and the good shooting has continued here in the second.
He's got 17 minutes played in his return. Rich Kelly to the rim.
And then Kelly looking as tough as possible with a little double fist pump scream after the hoop, trying to ignite a UMass rally.
It's back to a 9-point game. Charlton hits the rainbow. Where was this on Saturday, and where has it been for large stretches of A-10 play?
They have hit 9 of their last 12 from downtown. And Fernandez just got a flop warning. Okay, I thought he was getting a foul. I thought he actually, on his back, tried to get a piece of one of the Fordham players running past him, but it's just a flop warning, so it's not a foul. That means Matt McCall is to bring him off the floor, down by 12.
Flop warning to Fernandez means if he were whistled for it again, it'd be a technical, which is both a team and a personal foul.
It's like a delay a game warning, and while it's just a warning, it's an awkward move for the referees to make, as now Cologne Navarro hits a three.
It is an unconscious Fordham shooting onslaught, 8 of their last 9, and it goes.
There might be an extra win or two on that resume right now, but that young man sitting down, again, it defies explanation what he is going through, and able to come out here and not just play, but have his best game as a Ram.
Well, now UMass has to turn it on. Fernandez from the middle of the paint, away from Ohams. Tipped up, Jones kept it in, seeking Fernandez. Halfway through the reset shot clock. That three is good. C.J. Kelly. He had a massive game against Fairfield right before these teams were supposed to meet in January. And wearing a 41 for the first time, I'm sure, in his life, has 7. Conversely, that.
The rest of the schools in the conference and in the area trying to make this program and both programs as good as they can possibly be.
Ohams to complete the and one, does so. He's got 15, 6, and 3 assists. And Fordham's lead balloons back to 15.
Stephanie Gately has been here 11 years now in charge of Fordham women's basketball. They've already had their revival, a couple of A-10 championships yearly in the postseason, inching towards 20 wins again this year as they head towards their A-10 tournament later this week in Wilmington, Delaware. And now Kyle Neptune trying to build that same kind of success on the men's side.
On the seniors that walked against Davidson, most notably Kendall Haramiah and Megan Jonathan, as Quisenberry, a high degree of difficulty, goes sliding into the cheerleaders. This is a Fordham program that did not make a postseason tournament from 1994 to 2013 on the women's side.
And in there, don't forget, and I guess I shouldn't bring it up, there was a completely winless season.
A 0-win season under Kathy Andruzzi. Those seniors went to the postseason, the WNIT or the NCAA tournament, every year they were capable of doing so, 2020, of course, not included.
And for Kendall Haramiah, that's 5 seasons because she had her extra COVID year. So, yeah, that group only knows postseason basketball, and they would have been in postseason play in 2020 if there was postseason play.
Dominguez takes the hit, still lays it in, and hey, Sam Breen and UMass on the women's side, watch out in Delaware this week. That's all I'm saying.
That would be the second opponent for Fordham. They're waiting on a St. Louis George Mason winner, and if they beat that winner, Sam Breen and UMass are waiting. And those two teams played an interesting game in Amherst.
That's one way to put it.
Haramiah hit 11 threes.
Rose the offensive foul. That was an A-10 record, 11 threes.
And Fordham had a huge lead in that game. UMass came back, and then Fordham could not catch back up again despite the 11 threes from Haramiah.
Let's get another look here. On the layoff for Ohams, the foul goes to Rose. His second, 4th team foul. UMass has a chance to cut into this deficit a little bit. Garcia pulls up at the free throw line, nothing but net.
And again, there's a lot of time left in this game for anybody, but this is a UMass team that kind of likes doing this. 5 double-digit come-from-behind wins this year, so they're not bothered being down 11 with 9.5 to go.
UMass swept the season series between these teams a year ago. They've won the last 3 against Fordham. UMass will play Fordham up at the Mullins Center in Amherst in 2 days' time in the back end of a home and home. Cologne Navarro floats, rebound Simbila. Gets inside, under the rim, rolls it in.
That feels like a big hoop for Fordham. A little mini surge here by UMass. Another empty trip would not have been helpful for the Fordham cause, and Simbila rescues it with the offensive rebound on the putback.
Fernandez, after Ohams wasn't able to corral that. Kelly was laying on the baseline.
Kelly got a little out of control, lost the handle on his way off the wing, and could not recover before falling out of bounds.
He's been all right wearing the number 41.
You know, it is, at least to me, we've heard of schools leave all of the uniforms behind. You can forget a bag of uniforms. I wonder how they lost a jersey.
Rose, nothing there. You wonder if the winds of change could be in the air here. UMass team that, to your point earlier, has come back time after time. All the way to the rim. What a finish by Garcia.
And he was fouled too, but no whistle.
They say he changes speed and pace really well. He always makes the right play. The right play there should have been an and one. A chance to cut it to 10. Now Dominguez handing the breadbasket of Chuba Ohams. That's his first personal. Foul occurred on the floor while he was streaming toward the basket.
Fordham's going to need somebody to inbound here, and finally Charlton walks over.
Charlton 11th in the conference in assists and leads the team. Ohams. Grown man move! Chuba Ohams rips through the double team and throws it down. Dominguez. Ohams snatches the board. And Fordham can run. Charlton pulls it out. Quisenberry thought about it. This could be a vital moment here. So we're under 8 minutes to go. Feeding the hot hand. Ohams. It was
out over the weekend and noticed the car plugged in with the Pennsylvania plates and said, I'm going to assume that's Coach Neptune's car.
It's a pretty good bet. But just how he's tried to build this team and what his plans are for the future, finding talent in a variety of ways and places, and making some of these guys believe in themselves again. Kyle Rose contesting Fernandez all the way to the 10.
Well, I've been around this program as a student and a fan, and I was a broadcaster since 1998. Well, there's multiple head coaches, and there have been times where this program has seemed to be going in the right direction. There was a tiny good window with Bob Hill in charge. There was a good class of players with Derek Wittenberg that peaked as juniors and then struggled in their senior campaign. And now there's Coach Neptune, and it just feels different because the commitment from the top of the school down through both programs, men and women, it just feels different right now because of Ed Cole, a new president coming in as well with a fresh outlook on athletics, and then what's happening on the court with this team in particular. There's reason to be optimistic if you're a Fordham supporter, or if you're one of the people, many people who think that this is kind of a somewhat of a sleeping giant in this area, and that's what Kyle Neptune saw when this job came open. There were people who didn't think he'd be interested in this job because he could have shot higher coming off of Jay Wright's staff, but he's from the area, and he wanted to be the guy that made Fordham basketball be what it could be. And you know, there are a lot of things that have stood out this year. Great take by Garcia, plus the flop warning against Quisenberry. And just like that, we've got a 7-point game with 6 to play. And Garcia being told to calm down because after he scored, he gave a little look down right here at Quisenberry.
He said, you see that flop warning? Garcia with the
flop
lane.
This.
Yeah. turned over into the pressure of UMass. And you got to think Cal Neptune's right now is just trying to get the team settled down, but Matt McCall getting some energy out of this group. 7-point game, and Buttrick had forced a turnover that led to the Weeks finish, and the finish by Garcia, and all of a sudden, chance to get this down to a 2-possession game. It was 15 points about 2 minutes ago. Fernandez kicks, Kelly for 3. Long rebound pulled in by Charlton in the corner. Crosses the timeline. And now we're seeing UMass really buzzing.
They're buzzing on offense, Mike, but can they buzz enough on defense? Because this is the end of the floor that could kind of sabotage the comeback. They're going to score, or in theory, they can score their points, but can they stop Fordham from scoring points?
With everybody outside the paint, Ohams takes over from the corner, drives, converts. Now Weeks, rebound Ohams, who's now a rebound away from a double-double.
Because again, Mike, this is a Minutemen defense that is last in the Atlantic 10 in points allowed and field goal percentage defense. They are the second worst three-point defense. They are number 340 in defensive rating at KenPom right now, and 350 in America. That's the very, very bottom of things in effective field goal percentage defense.
Quisenberry forces the turnover, hands to his head. Him and Rose couldn't combine.
Rose just got a little too excited about making an offensive play off the great D from Quisenberry, and that's a lucky break for UMass because that could have been a hoop. A, puts Fordham back up by double figures, but also could have ignited the gym even further.
What effort by Quisenberry. First game since February the 8th.
And by the way, he's played 23 minutes, which is more than I would have expected coming out of nowhere to play this one in the first place.
Totally unexpected. Charlton and Fernandez. There's an appeal there for a jump ball, which would belong to Fordham. It is. Fordham gets the possession arrow in their direction with 4:26 to play. And look, Cal Neptune didn't rule out that Quisenberry would play. Let's just say that based on the conversation, hope to get him back this week. Didn't necessarily expect him to warm up. Once he warmed up, you weren't sure if he'd start. Comes off the bench. And with a game up in Amherst in 2 days between these teams, then the home finale on the weekend against GW, the team right alongside them in the standings, fighting for that first round bye. You could argue these two teams really do hold their destiny as far as having to play on Wednesday in DC in their own hands.
Yeah, and you know, you talked to Coach Neptune at 4 o'clock this afternoon, and he also to the Fordham radio crew gave no indication that Darius Quisenberry was going to play today. Now, we're all learning Coach Neptune and his staff as we go along, but I think it's safe to say, Ohams, this has been a remarkable second half. So much effort against all the UMass bigs to pile up these points.
A career high 21 for Chuba Ohams to go along with 9 rebounds. And he has bossed this game inside. It is Fordham's most points in an A-10 game since 76 against LaSalle last year. One of their very rare wins a season ago.
One of their 2 wins a season ago. Chuba had a string of 20-point games early in the season, never got past 20. Now he's got 21 with 4 minutes to spare.
12 for Cologne Navarro, 10 for Rostic Nowitzki. The secondary scorers have, as always, been by committee, but Chuba's been the guy this year in that high arcing rebound. Karam's out. It makes it an 11-point game with Javon Garcia looking for support. Weeks, we're under 4 minutes to play. Weeks kicks, Fernandez. Step back. Way off.
To say this a few minutes ago, there are things that Fordham is very proud of in this season that don't sound like things you should be proud of. Like, they were 2-0 in the Atlantic 10 for the first time ever, and they've been in this conference since 95, 96.
Riley, that's good. Everybody's in on this act. It's an 11th made three for Fordham.
It's 11 of 15 after an 0 for 4 start from deep.
And the conversion the other side from Stedman. But, you know, I asked as the pressure comes from UMass and Fordham tries to get it over the timeline. The double team has come to Rose. They've broken that pressure. I asked Kyle Neptune, what would it mean to be a 7 seed, to avoid a play-in game, a first-round game in the A-10 for the 4th time in 26 years in this program? And he goes, maybe when the season's over, I'll think about that. He's not considering it now. Riley reverses and scores. Well, 79-65.
I think one of the benefits of hiring any outsider and not someone with a Fordham connection, not someone who had been an assistant before, is kind of the
academic standards, small school like Niagara and a championship pedigree like Villanova. Kyle Neptune checked all the boxes. And what Fordham has done this year, approaching their 7th A-10 win of the season. They still have some work to do. Ohams, Charlton with slick hands. Shot clock running down under 2 minutes. Rose swarmed, shot clock at 3. He's going to have to put it up. Rebound tips out. Here comes UMass the other way. Chance to get this back potentially to single digits. But a blocking foul. Rose went up and blocked Stedman after the whistle had blown, but Colon Navarro picks up his 3rd personal. And UMass is not in the bonus yet. That's Fordham's 5th team foul.
You know, I thought that was a block until I thought I saw a push-off happen. I thought that might have put the whistle against UMass, but it goes against Fordham. And then that's also a little Kyle Neptunism as well. Fordham doesn't let you shoot for fun after a whistle. They don't let that ball go in the basket ever. That's not the first time this year where they have blocked a shot or knocked one off the rim after a whistle that's angered the opponent.
And whatever hard feelings exist at the end of this night, both teams are going to jump on a bus here the next day or two and head to Amherst. Stedman is running up the score from the free throw line with these mid-range jumpers. He's got 8, 7, and 6. Coming off a 5-game stretch in which he scored over 12 points a contest. Closing in on the final minute, it's Fordham by 10, trying to throw the nails in the coffin. There's a foul from Fernandez. That's his 3rd.
Matt McCall is angry that other players didn't give the foul before Noah did, because a good chunk of time came off the clock there before they finally committed the foul.
And look, the VCU game, Matt McCall was really blatant about it. He called a timeout at the end of the first half. The 1-and-1 free throw from Quisenberry. Front end is good. Said Stedman would get the ball in the paint, and no one was moving. And he tried to provide a jolt to this team. Well, the skid's going to continue likely here tonight with 60 seconds to go. Fernandez using the window.
He is fun to watch.
He may have found it here tonight, and we'll find out on Wednesday whether that carries over. He's got 13, and another foul as Fordham will head back to the free throw line. This is the 8th team foul on UMass, so 1-and-1 again. This is a Fordham team shooting free throws this year right in the middle of the A-10, 72%. Rich Kelly comes in off the bench, 3-point shooter.
So a very good game from Stedman, a good game from Fernandez, an okay game for Kelly. He's got 10 points, which is just a little shy of his average, but he's only 0 of 1 from 3. This is the 2nd best 3-point shooter in America. One attempt and he's missed it. And it was that one from near the logo at midcourt that impressed you so much in the first half. That's the only trigger he's pulled. And the crowd reacting to rebound number 10. It's another double-double for Ohams, who's laughing at the reaction from the fans and his teammates.
17 double-doubles this year. Most in the conference, top 10 in the country.
It's now 18. He had 17 coming in. Give him 18. And a Chuba chant from the crowd here in the gym.
So Ohams will go to the line on 21, a career high, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. And sometimes you can become complacent describing a player solely by their accolades statistically. But with Chuba Ohams, you talk with Kyle Neptune and you experience how the players view him, and he brings the culture of this group together. He's the leader. And there's been a lot of years at Fordham where there has not been a defined leader.
He's the guy, no doubt, and in this transition, he and Cologne Navarro and Jalen Cobb did a great job of, and Kyle Rose, meshing old and new to make this team come together so quickly under a new coaching staff.
Rich Kelly, full head of steam, hangs and hits. Still a 10-point game. UMass has burned all the single bonus fouls in their arsenal, so it'll be 2 free throws the rest of the way. And Cologne Navarro, Buttrick didn't really do much there, but he did enough. Picks up his 3rd personal. Even he's like, what did I do?
I mean, you almost at this point, you need to be yelling, I'm not fouling as you're playing defense, because referees just they assume you're fouling, so the second there's contact, they blow the whistle. But Buttrick was just hand-checking to play regular defense, and when the whistle blew, he goes, that wasn't me.
But that's what the defender wants the referee to think. It's a game of cat and mouse. Is that unclear?
Well, sometimes it's a cat and mouse game, but there are other times where guys are not trying to foul. They want to play defense, and the whistle comes almost preemptively.
Cologne Navarro makes the first of 2. Rams in the double bonus.
I mean, in that situation, if he wanted to foul, he should foul him. Why argue there?
Fordham 85-73.
Their previous season high was, I think, 89 in a game that went past regulation. So this might be the most points they've scored in 40 minutes this season.
Buttrick, no. Rebound Ohams, padding his numbers. And Fordham can dribble this one out. A home and home against UMass. Fordham opens up with a dub. They are back to 500 as we go to March. 85-73.